So, I didn't want to watch Volume 9. I honestly had no interest. I had thought maybe at the end I might talk about it, but I wasn't gonna pay to watch it on Crunchyroll. Not only do I not like Rooster Teeth and I don't like Crunchyroll, but I also really hate Crunchyroll's website. So I was just not gonna talk about it. I had no interest in talking about it. I saw a few clips here or there, and all the clips I saw just ruined all of my interest. They did not look fun or funny, and I had honestly no desire to talk about the show in any capacity. Honestly, none. These clips I see just infuriate me. There's nothing fun to watch here, and I would have no fun making a video about this. But then I said this one screenshot looked weird, and the internet, exploded on itself. People got so mad. Oh my god. This is such a mild take, too, honestly, and people got so upset, so weirdly upset over the comment of their faces look a little weird, which, let's be honest, in the context of not even just criticism I've given, but general criticism to the whole of the show, that is a super mild take to have. And people got so angry. I got death threats. Literal, actual death threats. Because I said the cartoon's faces looks kinda weird. Really? So now I have to talk about it, obviously. If I'm gonna get thousands of views on Twitter, I might as well take that energy and move it to a video where I can monetize it. So if you clicked on this video because you didn't like the thumbnail and you thought it was clickbait and you're big mads, thanks. Your views and ad revenue will help pay my bills. Thanks a bunch. All these people, honestly, if they wanted me to really stop talking about Ruby so bad, they would just stop talking about it at me. If I left a comment and no one interacted with me, I wouldn't continue, but here we are. It's the thing that gets me the most views. If you don't want me talking about the show, leave me alone. That's how this works. It's so easy to understand. You are perpetuating the cycle. So here we go. This screenshot. One that I've seen floating around a little bit before, and I just kept seeing this and I found out that apparently this is some big Bumblebee moment. And I just commented on how their faces don't read as romantic to me. Yang looks uncomfortable and Blake's smile looks weird. It's too toothy. Her eyes aren't smiling with her face. It's weird. It's a weird screenshot. But that was just the cardinal sin of daring to speak about a screenshot of a thing I haven't seen yet. Might as well have just murdered my firstborn, am I right? Honestly, the people who got upset that I talked about a screenshot without seeing the show is just really weird. You can comment on things you have not seen. In fact, it's so common you probably don't even think about it. What do you think teaser images are for? Tons and tons and tons of people who comment about a movie or show or anything that is coming up based solely on a few images that has been leaked or is official teaser images. Judging this screenshot is essentially the same thing. And also, it's not like I don't know the show. I've watched all of the seasons leading up to this one. Just because I haven't watched the 3 episodes that is of Volume 9, that doesn't change anything about this screenshot. And quite frankly, the people being like, well, you need to watch the episode to understand, is just that they don't like the fact that I'm saying an opinion that is negative, and they'd have nothing really substantial to say to argue with me, and so they try to find weird, desperate straws to cling to try to discredit what I'm saying. Another one they give is, you need to know the context of the scene! And also, well, it's different when you see it in motion, which doesn't really affect what I'm saying, because what I'm talking about is the art direction in this moment. You can comment on the way a thing looks without knowing the context or seeing the full animation all the time. Not necessarily that those two concepts aren't valid criticism. For example, I could show you this scene. Well, if you know the context, well, it might change your understanding of what is happening in this moment. It doesn't change how you think about the way it looks. Now, for the people talking about seeing it in motion, that's mostly a thing that's valid for 2D animation. Like when people were getting upset about how Pokemon changed its animation style for when Ash went to Alola, because it was using a much more squash and stretch style. When you have a still frame, it looks really weird, but in motion, it makes more sense. But this is not a squash and stretch moment. There is nothing to mistake or not understand from seeing it in or out of motion, and knowing the context of the scene doesn't change anything. Their faces still look weird. Knowing the context that Blake is laughing at Yang because she is angry she lost her arm doesn't change the fact that their faces look weird. Quite frankly, I would not care this much about this moment if you all didn't lose your minds at me over this. I'm not even the first one to make this comment. I've seen the take that this looks weird several times already. But you know what? Let's be fair. Let's look at the scene with its full context. So I watched the scene. They liked this moment so much that they put it officially on the Crunchyroll Dubs YouTube channel. Okay. So Yang talks about losing her arm, and she's clearly upset. You can hear it in her voice.
When I came to, that sneaky raccoon had already grabbed my arm and ran off before I could stop him.
As she should be. The prosthetic she uses to accommodate her physical disability was stolen. Anyone would be upset. But for some reason, Blake thinks it's funny. Like, she starts making, like, you have no arm jokes at Yang. Fortunately, Yang isn't infuriatingly offended by this, like how I think I would be, even if I did love this person and they were making jokes about the fact that my prosthetic has been stolen. The prosthetic I needed because of the person making the arm jokes, by the way. I would be very offended. So, but whatever. Yang thought it was silly funny, which was another thing. People can't even agree what the context of this moment was. When I showed off that screenshot, they're like, oh, well, it changes if you see the context. And half of the people who are unhappy with me said it was because this is a really deep, personal, interconnected moment. This is the first moment being together, finally, on the island. This is the first moment of joy and being with each other, which, one, I know is incorrect. I've seen them do an ugly hug, tackle, glomp thing from the first episode, and this comes from the episode 2 or 3. But then the other half of people were like, oh, well, it's just a silly, goofy little moment. It's not that serious. And it's just confusing that there are two halves to this, and both of them thought I was incorrect for not knowing this context, this pivotal context for this moment, but these two contexts that they're giving me are not the same and do not blend together. And also, it doesn't matter which of these contexts is actually the one you think it is or isn't, because that doesn't change the fact that their facial expressions don't look right. How do you do that? How do you have no effort into your performance like that? That's so weird. It's so weird because I know what Blake should sound like when she laughs.
You say he caught you unarmed. How disarming.
Caught you unarmed, disarming, unarmed. You have no arm. You have no arm. Wow, what a good girlfriend. This is so romantic.
I guess we'll have to catch this. About time.
They've held hands. This is, if I reached towards someone who I had a crush on to hold their hand, and they just did like a weird hand brush but don't touch me type deal, I would think they were embarrassed. I would assume they wanted to hold my hand but were too embarrassed to do so. That's not romantic, and I don't know what's finally about that. They have held hands in front of Weiss, mind you. They have held hands and much more. Why couldn't they just hold hands? If we wanted to really hammer home the cutesy romance of this moment, they could have at least had them actually hold hands. It doesn't help that the expressions they give doesn't look like they actually care about each other. Like I say in my tweet, Yang looks so weirded out and uncomfortable, and Blake just looks deranged. Her big wide eyes, when you smile genuinely, your eyes narrow. She looks like she's like crazy. She's just like obsessed with Yang. It doesn't help that she's interrupting Yang's angry, sad moment to laugh at her, and then just smiles this deranged smile and then tries to hold Yang's hand. If I did not know the context, and this is what context actually matters in moments like this, if I truly did not know the context of these two characters, I would think Blake was some sort of crazy stalker. I would think Blake was crazy mad in love with Yang and was just some weird stalker that Yang was awkwardly trying to get away from. Doesn't that sound familiar? In the context of Ruby, a crazed stalker character and the girl who's just trying to get away from them, it feels so familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. So yeah, that's the thing. I made a tweet commenting about the way they look. I've watched the stupid clip. It changes nothing. You know, my opinion has not changed. It still looks weird. Commenting on the way your show looks is pretty average. And imagine if I didn't know the context. If I was just someone who was kind of interested in Ruby, but I was confused about these facial expressions. Would you send death threats then? Yeah, that's gonna convince them to watch the whole show if you harass them and attack them and send death threats. Quite frankly, there's just nothing to say. This is such a nothing take. This is a mild moment over a mild nothing scene that everyone just lost their whole brains over. I hope it gets good, honestly. I really do hope it gets good. I hope the bees can get something better than this eventually, because hot damn, not holding hands is the thing you're all losing your brains over? God, we could do so much better than that, though. Thanks. Thanks for the ad revenue. Thanks for watching.
You're ugly when you lie, Tim! I'm not lying! Then why are you ugly?
Shout out to my $10 patrons. You're all amazing. Nako, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G Extreme, Classy Critic, Sunny Shy, Azoth, Great Bar, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Zero to Hero, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Messiah Complex, Jacob, Virus, Ben's Sketchbook, The Watcher, Omega Fighter, JP, Wild Pilot, and Josh. What a weird fandom. It's gotten so bad. Oh my god. Heaven forbid I leave a comment about something. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. I hope you had fun. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.